Okay, so on this truck, all we have is a 6-inch flip kit on it. We do have an option to make it into a 5-inch simply by installing these shackles. What we had to do is we had to cut a little brake line off the original truck. It's no big deal, but we realized we have to attach the brake line again. So your kit will come with a new brake line clip. Very simple. So what's going to happen is you're going to install your flip kit. You're going to install your nut. And you're going to put your brake line clip on. You're going to put your set screw in, which is going to hold your brake line, and you're going to tighten that down. Your brake line, we'll take a look at it on the actual truck. Your washer, nylock nut, and now you have a nice secure brake line. So let's go take a look at it on the truck. There, so we can securely mount our brake line. It's just good to have this, especially the hard lines, mounted well. And we can do it so you can see it's very firmly mounted. It just mounts right on the rear bolt of your flip kit, which of course you can adjust your pinion angle on it too. So let's take some more look at this flip kit and the pinion angle. So now we know we can secure our brake lines. We also made a couple cuts in this cover. We shimmed it out a little here with a couple of washers so we can secure our cover. We have nothing covering the wiring there, but we even installed the outer piece to make it nice and neat. Very simple to install because the front of this spring is removable. So now we can remove the spring on this year truck without removing the gas tank. So that's a big plus, makes it a lot easier. We also want to make sure our pinion angle is correct, which on this kit you need no shims. All you need to do is do the adjustment. This truck still will go down further and the pinion angle will change. But we want this pinion angle and the universal joint to be in line. We don't want this pinion kinked up too much or it'll chatter. So we want the alignment on this, which this kit makes it possible for you to align it without using pinion shims. And my God, we don't want to use pinion shims on a flip bracket. And so if it's installed correctly, and of course to change your pinion angle, if you don't have it right the first time, you're going to simply remove the top plate, loosen the U-bolts, go ahead and turn your rear end until you're satisfied of the pinion angle. And then we want to snug our U-bolts down, put our top plate on, which secures everything, and check the pinion angle, probably putting it down on the ground or putting it up on a 4-post lift. And if you're satisfied with that, we want to tighten U-bolts completely, probably to about 80 or 85 pounds. We want to go ahead and tighten our top plate about 65 pounds. We do not want to bend it. And now you do not have any pinion shims, and your pinion angle, everything's lined up with your universal joint is what you want. Okay, so let's install our shock relocator. See if we can get her up on there. Use my alignment tool. going to push that thing up. There we go. It's very simple to put on. First, I'm going to put on my mounting plate. Half 13 inch and a quarter. Excuse me. Split lock washer. Loctite. Okay, so I'm going to take my mounting plate. Just insert it, it'll fit right in there. Okay, make sure we have it started good. This is very simple. I like flat washers, so we're going to use a flat washer on this. And throw your Loctite on. Come in, we're going to put it in here. We're going to put a split lock with this half nut. We'll go ahead and get that on. Okay, it's fine thread, so don't cross thread it. This other one's exactly the same. Half-inch nut, half-inch bolts are about 100 pounds. That's pretty tight, but you don't want this thing to move. Now we have some more room. We can use some assistance. Some assistance here. And that's your shock extender. Go ahead and put your shock back on and you're ready to go. Because the flip kit moved the rear end rearward almost an inch, we ended up with this shock on a bad angle. And so the passenger side shock and the driver's side shock has a different angle. So we wanted to try to cure this with this realignment bracket to push this shock forward to give it the same angle as on the driver's side. So this little simple bracket just does that. Really easy to put on, takes 5 minutes. And so now, just for correctness, you have both shocks in the same angle and just makes it a little bit better. Just like having brake line brackets, we perfected by also moving this shock and getting both shocks correct. One last thing we needed to do, which this may be optional, we did it because it was just so easy, is this electrical cluster here. We moved that bracket and we gave you a bracket. It's nice and secure. This is nice and tight. If if you can see, we also moved this upside down just by reversing it and bolting it back up again. So we have the maximum amount of room here. We don't have to worry about it. That takes one little bracket, relining some of the wires, just being smart about it. And so we end up with more clearance. This used to be right on top of the differential housing, which is a worry for a $5 bracket. We get this thing well out of the way of this cross member. And it's just the small details like this. You're going to be driving this truck many, many, many years. Get this stuff taken care of when we do the kit, and we'll have no issues, no problems with the truck. And that's how we do the flip kit on the 19 Silverado. Okay, so we had this silencer that came with the truck, but it interfered. I was interested to see what happens if we took it off, and so we took it off. So let's go underneath the truck. So what we did is went to our friends at San Pedro Muffler in San Pedro, and the resonator was located right here, which hit our axle or was very close to our axle. And we took it out, added a tube. You can see where it's re-welded, which gave us pretty good clearance on the rear end. We don't like to go around clacking around. And I was skeptical because I thought it may make a check engine light or something like that. But after driving it for days, I don't really know what the purpose of it is. Absolutely made no difference in the sound or performance. And so we got our clearance, and it only cost us $50 to have this tube wedged and welded. And it only took maybe 15 or 20 minutes for them to do it. So that's another thing. We'll keep in touch. But right now I have no check engine lights or anything whatsoever on, and it seems to perform as normal. So for the $50, I think this is a good improvement as far as axle clearance goes. So with this much lowering, you got to do stuff like this. It's just the way it goes, and which ended up to be no big deal and no adverse effects on performance or sound. So so that's another thing you might want to do to give good rear end clearance and get that exhaust out of the way.